take 15 seconds to load.
Haha.
You should have
He
said
buzzed
Drama
fast.
because he has problems.
Should I be unmuting this?
No, you
Mute
don't
stream.
even have to pay attention to
Just
any of
mute
this.
the stream.
Dump.
It's still not loading on my phone. That's weird.
Yeah, because you're using a phone, dude.
Because phone.
Final raid meeting.
Is everyone good?
What if there's people from other?
Can you put the hood up, Mark?
I don't care. What are they gonna learn?
Why? You just want to be reminded of where you live?
Just put the hood up.
No, it's
Come
warm
on,
in the
put
basement. I have
the-
the heater on.
Yeah. Turn the heater off. Put the hood.
Marsh, it's not for you, it's for us.
Yes.
Show
No.
knees.
It's reassuring.
Show knees.
So is my stream up? Can I get started?
Yeah, but your hood's not
Yeah.
up, so we
Put
won't.
your hood up, please, Marsh.
No thanks. It's too
Show
loud.
knees.
Marsh, the headphones go on the outside of the hood, please. Let's try to participate here.
Marsh, do you have a white hood? I think that would go really well with your background.
Man.
Oh boy.
Oh, man.
Richard has a point.
You ready?
Marsh kind of has that look to him.
Marsh seems like he calls black people the blacks.
The black.
Marsh looks like most of
Yeah,
his
let me
friends
guys
only
start.
know what the outside of his eyes look like, right around the eyes.
Just start, Marsh. We're gonna keep going.
Marsh,
until
I
you-
think we're still waiting for Joe.
He's not that. stupid.
Don't do it.
Yeah, fuck it.
All right, I'm gonna get started.
Is
Just
Clayton
like-
Bigsby your favorite superhero?
I'm gonna get started. So, in short, Rathian, so we just want to have the boss tank sideways, main tank here, raid here, breath goes this way. They'll tank swap, never be in front of the breath. He'll put a debuff on you when you get incinerations, take them out of the raid. Note that in Mythic that you get a stack that can go up 50 times. When you get up to 50, the stack explodes. So you want to learn to limit your movement. But in Heroic, you can basically just get out. Also in phase 1, there's a Gale Blast. It's a circle under the boss. You move away about 20 yards. It does the explosion, then you move back. When the Gale Blast goes off, we want to spread. We don't want to stack up because fire circles will come out, and if we're all stacked, it'll just kill us. Get combat out by like 4 of them. Don't stand in fire. And it's a tail swipe, so don't be behind the dragon. In phase 2, the dragon will fly away. I thought I mentioned that. Yes, we can pre-spread for Gale. And you can just speak up in voice if you want instead of DMing me in game. We want to pre-spread for Gale. That's just don't stack up. The range can just pre-spread it, and the melee can just run away. It's not a big deal. For P2, Scales of Rathian. So what first in the beginning of P2, the dragon or the boss will fly up. It'll go to a random side of the room. We need to run to the other side of the room. I'll try to throw down a marker. We'll all get to the safe zone and we'll chill. If you look in the image, I can have markers down. So I'll either call a marker or I'll be like in between green or purple, or literally anyone can call it. And I'll try to put a marker down myself. There's a reason I didn't put blue on here because that's what my hotkey is right now. Other than that, phase 2, there's going to be Scales of Rathian. There are these scales that you have to absorb. And you pick them up and you run through the pillars. You want to run, you want to get the outside pillars first and then do the middle preferably. I did more research in the Mythic recently, and it looks like tanks, rogues, maybe hunters and mages are all pretty good at it. They can all get there really fast. Like when I mean tanks, I mean like Brewmaster tanks. They can all get there really fast, and maybe warrior as well. But and you have a debuff. The debuff has like I don't remember, it's like 8 or something. You can hit like 8 of the pillars, and then you'll have to kill a few of them. So the reason you want to do the ones on the outside is because it's easy to AoE the ones in the middle. There'll also be assassins that target the people with the scales, or it can target anyone in the raid. It'll stun you for 10 seconds. If it hits someone with the scales, they're basically effed. Like they won't be able to clear anything. So we'll have to. I mean, a heroic won't be a big deal, but having like flares go out, ring a piece on the main group. I think DHs can use their sight. That's all going to be really important for that mechanic. Other than that, you clean up the remaining pillars, and when a shard is destroyed, it does 74k damage to you, so you might not want to like stand next to like 5 of them. That is, oh Jesus, that's the fight. So does anyone have any questions on this before I move on?
So in mid, you can't DPS the little thingies. You have to use the debuff to kill them. How are we gonna deal with the rest of them?
So in Mythic, the way it worked in testing is that they actually were untargetable until hit by the debuff. I don't know if that's what you said, but I interpret it differently.
Yeah, the only way we can destroy the little scale thingies is with the personal to the.
Correct. So I think the way you have to do it in Mythic is you have to kill like a section of them. So like if you think of like a quarters, like a pizza almost with quarters, then you just like
Pizza with corn.
you just do like 3/4 of the pie, and then
They function as a softened range. Like you're not going to be able to get all of them.
Yeah.
So there's going to be pieces or like fire pools which are doing a ticking AoE to the raid.
yeah. So we might have to like before we go into Mythic, we might have to be like, okay, you know, these we'll leave this section free, and then we'll leave this section free, and then we'll leave this section free. But we have the ability to look at VODs before we step in, which is what I'll be doing on that Tuesday. And then just something about Mythic, since I've done a lot of research on it, classes that I think are going to be good in terms of like how that mechanic works, as I said, rogues and like brewmaster monks, maybe hunters, but also in testing things like Blessing of Freedom worked to clear your 50 stacks. Dispersion worked. I forgot what else. There's a few things that could clear that. But the reason Cloak did work as well, which is why I say rogues. What's up?
So do you know if the fell retreat then
Yeah,
would remove it?
yeah, that does work as
Vengeful
well.
retreat?
I think that does work. Now, I think that's going to be patched out, but we'll see.
Could you block it off on PTR?
I don't know.
I think if you could freedom them off, you could probably block them off.
So that could like completely change the way we do the fight, which is why I've kind of left like the Mythic comp empty, because depending on that will change things a lot. Okay, quickly on Mott here, it's really basic fight. So we're going to position the boss like this. I thought about moving the melee in the middle, but then that kind of makes the pool super shitty. So the idea is that, and I didn't draw arrows, but I can just point it out here. So first off, the tanks get slammed by Shadow Claws. It's not that bad. I think they taunt on 1 or 2. I don't remember. And then everyone in people in the raid, like half the raid will get this Devoured Magic. And it's just like a circle that you drop out of the raid. And the idea, well, I don't know, is you drop here. So like melee could just move here, range could just move here, and then an ad's gonna spawn. And the reason, this is 20 yards, by the way. So the reason that we're dropping the pools here is because the tanks need to drag the ad into the pools. So drop the pools, whatever. And then the ad spawns. It's like a giant vortex that comes down and will pull you in. They'll drag the ad over and everyone needs to swap to it. When the ad casts its ability, I don't remember, Dark Offering maybe. The tanks need to drag the ad into the void zones because it will it won't cast, like it won't let it cast, so it drags it in for the duration of the cast, then it move out. The issue with one dragging it into the void zone is that the tank will be silenced and immune to healing. But 2, you can't like perfectly position the ad in the void zone. I guess you could, but when it's in the void zone, all magic damage to it is like reduced to nothing. So it's really important that like melee swap to it. Like hunters would also be pretty good at killing it. But ideally, the tanks can just drag it in, let it cast, range swap to the boss for a few seconds, then back to the ad. The other thing to note, and this is probably, I'd say, the most important part of the fight, is the Black Wings. In terms of like heroic, it's not actually a hard ability. So initially I did not have the fight drawn up like this, but I started thinking about the Black Wings more. So in testing, and I learned this from Fat Boss, the Black Wings only attack the melee, so technically tail, and if the Mistweaver's in, which they're not, should be here. So the Black Wings will target melee, and it's like a frontal cone that's really obvious. And they can either move in front or behind the boss to dodge it and then move back. The issue with it going into range is that, like, if we had the melee here, is that the cast is really fast, and the closer you are, the easier it is to get out. So like if ranger like back here, it's gonna be really difficult for them to escape. So we want to bait it every time. But it will knock you off the platform if you don't do it correctly. Then in phase 2, the boss will run into the middle of the room. We'll all stack onto the boss. Okay, I didn't write that down. But basically, there's two things going on. First, we have the orbs that come from the sides. And then we'll just rotate people to pick them up. So like hunters, tanks are probably the best people to pick them up. Then probably mages. So pick up the orb, and then you run into the group, and then you give everyone mana. So it's pretty intense for healers. So you just keep funneling the mana and having them just use their whole mana pool is kind of the idea. I think there was a boss in Classic that did that. And the other thing in phase 2 is the Drain Essence. So it's basically just a debuff that goes out, and Fat Boss was saying just to dispel it immediately. I think you just have to run out and dispel it. So healer should just give it a quick 1 count, and whoever gets the debuff just run out of the raid and dispel. Because it just feeds the boss mana. So like they were just saying dispel it immediately, even though it would like do damage to the raid. So maybe it is just an instant thing, but because it does 100k damage and burning mana from allies, but the idea is if you dispel it immediately, you're getting mana back from the orb, and 100k won't kill you, but I think 2 go out at once, which is why I'm saying giving a quick 1 or 2 count. And these are all mythic numbers. I don't put any heroic numbers in here. I think it's useless. In Mythic, there's an Ancient Curse. I don't know what the cast, I assume the cast is called Ancient Curse, and it basically puts a curse on every target in the raid. This is old. I made this a while ago, but you can looks like you can remove the curse by stepping into the void.
I think it's called Stricken Devastation, and yeah, you step into the void before it gets go.
Yeah,
No, that's a
one
different
shot you.
mechanic.
no, that was the last thing I was going to talk about. I think
Oh,
this is
okay.
Ancient Curse, so that's different. But this might be a situation where like druids, shamans, and mages. Like we wouldn't like need to take like a crap ton of them, but having like a good amount of them just to cover mistakes. Because after 30 seconds, I think it just kills you, or I think it's 24 actually. It'll just instantly kill you. And then I lied about the Black Wings. The biggest thing to take away from this fight, which is why I let it last, this is a phase 1 ability, where you watch for this cast here. This is what Kasari was saying. You have to dip into the void, if not it will one-shot you, period. So you look for this cast, you see it, you run into the void zone, you let it finish the cast, then you run out. It will one-shot you on any difficulty. Any questions on this fight?
What's the cast called that we want to dip into for?
Stricken Devastation.
I thought it was
Gotcha.
Annihilation.
Annihilation, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Stricken Annihilation. Very, like, if you're taking one thing away, unless, like, as a range player, it's this. As a melee player, this plus Black Wings.
Why you gotta put a raise on him like that, dude?
Racist.
Squawk
So,
Deshura.
Skitra, really simple. Let's see. I think I made a diagram for it. So phase 1, tanks, I think taunt at like 2 or 3. They don't want to tank on 1. I think it just doesn't work out, but that's something they can confirm. And there's a shredded ad that appears. I'm trying to figure out the name from here, but you get this ad cast searching images. I didn't split up this in phases. If anyone knows the ad, that would be cool, so I don't have to read through this.
You mean like the wall of ads
No, like the single ad, like the debuff you get that you run out.
that spawn?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, right here. Psychic reverberations. So whoever gets... Oh, go ahead, Zen.
It's Clouded Mind and Twisted Mind.
No, those are the debuffs. I'm looking
That's
for
the mythic thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking for... I called it shredded, but I don't know if this was... I made this a while ago. But anyway.
You're looking for the name of the ad?
Shred
Or
Psyche.
the debuff.
Shred Psyche.
Shred Psyche.
Shred Psyche.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Shred Psyche.
Oh, I know why I put in blue. I'm stupid. Because it's part of the mythic mechanic. I'm just dumb. It actually... I'll fix this so I don't get confused again. So you get the Shred Psyche debuff, and you just run it. Like, honestly, this positioning doesn't actually matter. Like, the tanks could literally be here. In fact, they probably should be. But this is just what I had. So we'll take the Shredded Psyche debuff. I'll put a marker here. You get the debuff. You run over. You drop it. If there's 2 debuffs, which is possible, then we'll probably, like, take one here and here. Take one here and here. Probably next to each other is better. When the player moves out and drops it, we want to let it do 1 cast. It does drop off damage. I mean, range can swap to it, but we'll let it do 1 cast, and then we'll drag the boss over and kill it ASAP because it starts pulsing damage. But that first cast is super deadly. That's literally P1. And then the intermission. Oh, the other thing in P1 are these images. It's just like Coven of Shavara from Antorus. So everyone needs to be speccing into CC. Mass Root seems pretty good. Grips seem pretty good. Like Mass Grip.
Binding Shot.
Binding Shot's really good. Freezing Trap's good. Like every class.
Ring of Peace.
Yeah, Ring of Peace. Like all that shit. You need that. And we will just CC the ads and keep them away. And after 30 seconds, they have 1 health. So that's the way that goes.
I think the weak will still be working to auto mark the.
No, they broke it. They broke it like twice.
I think the easiest thing there is me and Icky will be split. So
Yeah.
me and Icky can sort it out.
Well, the reason, okay, so you're talking about P2 or the ad spawn. So what I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna track my debuff because unless you or Icky want to do it. So what I do.
Me and Icky will 100% always be in the opposite realms.
Yeah, so let me see if I can find it quickly. I'll show you what I mean. I need to get to the... Anyway, there's a way you can hotkey, and I'll do it before the raid. There's a way you can hotkey like all the markers.
Keybinds?
Yeah,
You just use Opires. That's what I use OPs.
Yeah, so what I do is I'd keybind all this stuff. So I do like numpad 1, numpad 2, numpad 3, numpad 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I just
Yeah, you're a little crazy.
And then I just
Right.
run around and use my right hand to mark everything really quickly. That's what I did
What's
on
your left
August.
hand do?
Move.
Alternatively, what you can do is sort of like how on the last boss of Mechagon, people call out numbers instead of colors. The spawns are set, and there's 6 possible spawns.
Yeah, so you just sit.
You could go like clockwise, starting from the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's say Snooze goes first and he says it's 2, 3, and 4, and then Icky goes 4, 5, and 6, then you can immediately
Yeah.
here the 4 is the one that's overlapping.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, except for you just have the marks down and you just call the color or the
Right.
shape, whatever. But yeah, numbers works great too. So,
Did
but
we
it should
release
just
the
be
number
me and
that?
Icky though.
I thought there were more than 6 ads.
Yeah, there can be.
That's
Which-
the principle. So.
So I don't know what's gonna be best, but I was just gonna do the numlock thing like I did on Argus, if you guys remember that. That's what I've always done. Wit's telling me there's an add-on with
So-
the wheel. I've seen that before.
Yeah, I've
I've never,
seen that. On
I've
too, yeah.
never been like super good at that add-on. I can try it. Probably better than I am at it than I did last tried it.
Marsh, so I understand what you're saying, and you're gonna throw marks down and stuff and whatnot. But how is that gonna help anybody? Like,
So if I'm in purple and the other person,
you have to sort out somebody that's always the only consistent people are me and Icky that are always gonna be in the split.
Yeah, but so the thing is like, you guys are tanking the boss, and I need to run around and put the markers down because the ads spawn randomly. So you guys can't run around. And do
That's
the
why you
markers.
have. That's why you have 6 pre-marked spots, which is where they're always gonna spawn.
Well,
And you have 2 people
because when we
going
were
up.
testing in heroic, right, we had like a yellow mark, and it was ever so slightly off of it, and it didn't count as the same ad.
They don't spawn in the same spot every time, to my knowledge. And I looked. Up,
There's 6 spots. That's correct. They don't always spawn in the same spot, but there's only 6 designated spots that they'll spawn in. And I
Is
think what
that
happened with
something
the
that
other
changed since we tested
something
it?
that happened before, no. And what happened before was when you had that mark under that ad or whatever, it was directly under it, so nobody could even see it.
No, there was definitely a time when like we had placed a yellow marker on one of the ads, and in the other realm, the ad was so close to the yellow marker that people thought it was that one.
Yeah, I
But it
remember
actually
that.
wasn't.
the way I could be wrong, but when I looked at PTR VODs, I thought about seeing if there were set spots for ads, and like how many were they? But like they were like 10 yards apart. I don't know. I don't know how they programmed it. They could literally be like, okay, they're gonna have 6 ads spawn, but they're gonna be within 20 yards of this point, and not, within 5 yards of another ad. Like they can program it like that, which is what I thought they did, but I'm not positive. But I don't know. I mean, either way is probably fine, but I'm thinking for heroic, every person I've talked to said just have a mobile range, mark everything, call it out, and deal with it. And if there's set spawns in by mythic or even week 2 heroic, we can just do that. That's kind of my thought process with that.
I feel like unless something changes, whatever mythic strat we're gonna use, we should start using in heroic just so that the people who are doing it can get used.
I agree. I just
And then if something changes and makes it a lot easier, then of course we can just that.
But I did look if they had set spawns for like an hour, and I couldn't. Like, if someone can show me, like, I'm wrong, but when I was looking at the VODs, it didn't look like there were. They always looked like there were 6 ads, and they were within a certain area of like the map or the room. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be multiple strategies to approach it, so we'll just have to figure out what works.
Yeah, I think the safe way is just to be like, at least for the first kill, is be like, okay, I'm purple. Someone in like, it can either be a tank or anyone in red. I just can put it down, and then someone's like, okay, it's, this marker, or it's yellow, and then we just do that. Actually,
Yeah, we're always given separate buffs. Me and Icky, luckily, so
someone join.
That one cannot join this
Someone
group.
request to join my group real quick.
Just invite you to mine rather than.
I'm making it into a raid, so. Or can you make it into
Oh
a raid?
well, I cannot do that. Request.
Fuck yeah, thank you, Nucky.
I got someone. I just want to see if this yeah, I still can do it fast.
You could also just set up a macro to the exact same keybinds. That's just at mouse over, so you don't have to.
Yeah, there's also weak aura. I'm gonna try that out this evening or tomorrow, or not a week, or an add-on that lets you mark with a wheel. I know that's existed. Other than that, does anyone have questions? So if you take anything away, spec in the CC the ads, don't touch the ads, take Shred Psyche to the marker, don't be near it for the first cast, stay relatively stacked up, and if you're in the group opposite of me, then call it when I mark the ad. Okay. Zanish.
Me?
Jesus.
Do you want them?
So, insanely simple, but probably like a maiden fight. We'll see. So you have, we'll just go through the non 3-man group. So if you're on the outside, there'll be these Opulus that spawn, don't touch them. There's going to be
Wait,
these
what did spawn? Sorry.
Opulus. And then you'll have
Obelisk?
Say that again.
Opulus. I don't know.
Opulus is gonna spawn the bomb.
There's gonna be a bunch of optometrists in this raid.
Are
Everybody
you
needs
trying to say obelisks? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
he's trying to say obelisk.
Okay. Okay, I'll carry on. I was actually confused there.
It's obelisk. Okay.
Bunch of
Obelisk.
Like he's drinking beer. He can't handle it.
It's obelisk. Okay, let him
So
continue.
if you
Let him
touch it, you
continue.
get slowed. All right. Then there's going to be Soulflay that will hit half the raid. So
Mentally.
So when the Soulflay goes out, the tanks need to move the boss like 20 to 30 yards away just instantly, and then the whole raid has to follow. The Abyssal Strike for the tanks, I don't know when they swap, maybe 1 or 2. And then Ashara will shoot out like beams that you have to get out of. They do a lot of damage. And okay, she just does ticking damage. I forgot what that did. So that's all there is to do on the outside. When you're going to do the Void Ritual mechanic, I think this is updated. Okay. So if you're going in to do the Ritualist or the Void mechanic, if you're on this list, then
Can't see the list past your screen.
okay. So if you're on this list, then you're going to be doing it. That's probably fine. I might make one change because
Your camera's blocking like a
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
a little bit of that. I have no idea. Oh, never mind. 6 Malik, Karn, Nucky.
Hyped for soccer.
Okay, Shiden.
Wait, how did Dump dodge having to do this?
I was gonna say, Shadow Priests aren't actually that mobile,
I'm
right?
actually going to put him in because I want.
Fuck you, Raffle.
If I gotta do it, Kasuri, so does the Shadow Priest.
Well, on Mythic, we all have to.
Might as well
My
get your
statement still
practice now.
stands.
Yeah.
So the idea is with this diagram, and this is something I wanted to go through.
Can you use picture?
Nah, throw up gang signs. We'll get it.
Okay, so in short, the middle here is Ashara, or like the middle of the room, or whatever you want to call it, and C equals close, and then you'll always like, let's say the close person is looking at the boss, it would be the right of that and the left of that. So when before on Tuesday, if you're on that list, then just know what you're doing. And I'd probably hit up the person that is opposite of you to at least, make sure they know what they're doing. But that's the way it's going to be going. There's no way for me to explain to you the mechanic besides watch a video. I know one thing people have been saying in videos is don't try to like run at it if possible. Just like let it hit you, and whatever way you're facing it will go. I mean, if you have to run at it, you can, but if you're just like facing one way, let it hit you, it will shoot that way.
You want to place yourself in front of it when it's traveling.
Yeah.
And then face the way you're wanting to go.
Yeah.
And also, it's it interacts with your hitbox, so it's kind of gonna be kind of off center.
Yeah.
I'm expecting to go like directly in front of where your face is looking to be off to the side a little bit.
Correct. And then the other thing to note is that this is the portal that it comes out of, and then there's going to be a little goal, which is just like a little void circle. But the one that looks really fancy is the one that it comes out of. So usually one person will start, and then the other two people will be the receivers or the strikers, if you know anything about soccer.
The bottom.
So,
Big spoon, little spoon.
what's up? What'd you say, Kisari?
Don't worry about it.
Does anyone have a question about this, boss?
What's a striker?
Is that Ronaldo dude?
No, he's a midfielding defender.
What? You know that, but you don't know what the striker is?
He's a cherry picker.
The one in the middle's the goalie, right?
No, that's the cream in the Oreo.
Marsh is gonna commit suicide.
Now put cream in your Oreo.
Jesus.
Anyway, so moving on the hive mind here. It's going to be an AoE fiesta, so make sure you're in AoE talents. Kill the bosses at the same time. What'd you say?
Frost Mage.
That's okay.
I don't know how much of an AoE fiesta it's gonna be.
So in short, I'm going to go up the ERT note instead of like going down through all the mechanics. So you stack in for drones and then you move away. So those are the small ads. Darters, I put down hunters like CC the furthest one. That's furthest one from the boss, and then drag the boss over the close one, and then grip the other one in. It probably won't matter. Just these are like top priority, so just kill them ASAP. Like and you can also like CC them to stop their cast. So even if there's like they have dots and the trap's breaking, you can just like stun them or fear them. Just make them stop their cast. When Tetris is control, the bosses must be together. So cleaving, and then he does an accelerated evolution on one. And this is like one big boy ad that the tank picks up, and it'll just slap the tank so super hard. So we have to target it down. When Kazir is in control, the bosses need to be 20 yards apart. This is like one area I can see us wiping. So one of the drones, which is a small ad, gets like 150% health or something, and starts a cast. And if the cast finishes, I'm pretty sure like everyone dies. So that's just like hard single target swap.
So hold on, that mechanic right there, I don't think we'll want everybody to be full AoE pack. We'll need people who can just nuke those.
Yeah, I think the fight is mostly going to be about single target with some cleave, not going ham on AoE. Yeah, it's going to be a lot more like Gorgonzola.
Control kill. Yeah.
Well, I'll let people determine like what talents they use in heroic. I'm not gonna like. When it comes to mythic, we can min-max that stuff. So when Kazir is in control, 20 yards apart, drone buff, target it. So. And then these are like what the hive mind abilities in general do. So you have these like here, and they're like kind of like roly-polies that roll around, and if you get hit, you get like a pretty nasty dot on you and take some damage. So the idea is you don't want to stand in the middle of the room because that's where they're all going. So try to move towards the edge. Then there's Cosmere's gonna do a cast. I put tank on boss interrupt 1, rogue 2, but literally it could be like any melee or range. So tank will get the first one, then basically anyone. The reason I just put rogues here is because I don't know, they're rogues, they get interrupts, but again, it could be anyone. Echoing void, we just have to spread out with these. They're just like little circles. And Tetris does a frontal cone that are for tanks, don't get hit. And yeah, that's basically the fight in short. The two mythic changes, I believe, are Echoing Void leaves a pool after you drop it, which would basically want you to spread more. So if you're just like standing in a large clump of people, barely spread out, but then you have nowhere to run because there'll be circles on the ground. So just wants you to spread out a little more. I think the other change is that these Akir ads, when they're about to hatch, like the green area that they're in gets bigger, so it might force you towards the middle more, which just makes the mechanic harder instead of just chilling on the sides. But any questions on Hive Mind? There's no need for me to like go through all this because that's like the in short. I mean, there's just a lot of like random damage stuff. Don't get hit. What does it do, etc. Does anyone have any questions?
Is that a 3-tank boss?
No.
No.
Okay.
I initially thought it might be 3 tanked just for like one
No.
guy controlling all the ads, but
There's no tank
yeah,
swap.
There's no tank
need.
swap, correct.
Mao might be the only one that we need the 3 tank.
And Vexiona, but I'll get there. There's a thingy that people were discussing. Shadar, it has very little mechanics. So again, I'll just be going to the ERT note here because there's not. Actually, I lied. If these are broken, I'm gonna be mad. Sick. Well, rip. I can just explain it. So, the phase, first off, we'll be lusting in P3. For the tanks, it has like a Grong style thing where like you can't take crush and dissolve, but you can take like 2 of one, so you can take 2 crushes or 2 dissolves. So it's like, I think that's how Grong worked.
Yeah, it's just like the Grong thing. Yes, yeah. Just different names and they do different things. But yeah.
Healers, this is for all phases, by the way. Healers, you have the spit debuff. Just spot heal the first target that has spit, and then the other 2 take like, and then the spit will like break up into half the damage it was doing for the first target, so it's easier and easier to heal. Breath, you can sidestep. So the idea is for phase 1 and 2, we'll tank the boss in the middle of the room, and then range will spread out around the boss. Melee will just always hit the back of the boss, and wherever the breath goes, like range will just have to move out. But if we're spread, only like 2 or 3 range may have to move instead of like the whole group. And then you have the miasma, which basically just runs at people, and it drops off a distance. If you get this, just run away, and then try not to trigger 2 at the same time. I think 2 come out and chase people down, so kind of gauge what your other person's doing, and then try not to make both explode. P1, you have fire swirls, and they come out super fast, and I even put it, I cannot stress how fast you need to move. And this is mostly for range, and I guess melee too. They shouldn't really be clumping too hard. This is like Sea Swell, but like on crack. And you just need to, if you get hit, it's really bad. So when fire swirls cast, just run away instantly. The enrage of P1 is like the fire swirls come out more and more and more and more. Which makes range infinitely less, like caster range, like less good, and classes who don't, can cast on the move better. So that's like the P1 enrage. The P2, there's gonna be void zones on the ground. We're still spread around the boss, and you basically want to take like 4 or 5 stacks of this void zone and then step out. And we just need everyone involved. You just run in, take 4 or 5 stacks, run out. The ones in melee, obviously the melee get those, and sometimes melee might need to hop out the range to grab a few stacks. So the enrage with that phase is that there's just too many void zones. So there's more and more void zones that are appearing, and then like this void zone does like a lot of damage to you and puts a debuff on you for like 7 or 8 seconds, so you can't take more. So everyone just starts taking ridiculous amounts of damage. In P3, we'll drag the boss to the side. Then we'll all stack up like like basically around the boss, and we'll kite it around in a circle. I don't care which way the tanks kite. And then there's going to be a little green pool that starts in the middle and expands outwards. Don't stand in green ever. That's the reason we're moving to the outsides. We don't have to be like on the edge, but we just have to be away from the middle. There'll also be green swirls that come out and target players. When you see those, don't stand in them, and the tank should move the boss. Breath, just run out. Breaths do different things in every phase, but literally just don't get hit. I mean, some of them are less deadly than others. Just don't get hit by the breath. Does anyone have any questions on Shadar? And he doesn't enrage at 25%, which is why we lost in P3. One thing to note is that I have speed increase here, AC as Hiruno. This is for the breath, but it doesn't have to be like super strictly followed. Just, try your best on our first few pulls. Any questions? Okay, Drestagoth. I almost want to say watch the Fat Boss video because it's going to be way easier to comprehend, but I will try. There's way too many mechanics to go through, so I'm just going to use the ERT note. So tanks get a debuff called Volatile Seed. It's just like the Storm Wall debuff that they run out and they can put on the ads. The same thing happens. So one tank will be on the boss, and then they'll get the like one tank will be on an ad or something, and then that tank will get the debuff. They'll tank swap. He'll run the debuff out, drop it on ads, maybe 2, and then that ad takes like 60% more damage or something. And then everyone has to run away from that tank because it will do more damage. Then you have these eyes that will just cast Mind Flay. You'll also have... in short, there's 3 types of ads. There's melee ads, there's range ads, and there's anyone's ads. So the melee ads are I forgot what they're called, but they're the huge ads with the smoke around them. You run into the smoke with one healer. I don't care what healer, I assume they have it signed. And a melee can either taunt and then just take the hits, or anyone with threat can take the hit. Doesn't do anything. You kill that ad. Once the melee are done with that ad, then they move to the Eye Stalkers. Range, you start on the Maw ads. They do like a circle thing around them, which is basically makes melee not be able to hit them. So range are on those, and once you're done, you go to the Eye Stalks. Each of those ads have a special ability. I'm trying to remember from memory what they are. I think the Mind Flay ads shoot a Mithrax style beam, so on one target. So all the ads, including the boss, will target one player, and you move away, just like Mithrax. I think one of the ads does like a void reality tear that chases you down. You just run away. The other one does like giant circles. That's the in short. Just watch the guide and it'll all make sense. The strategy for this fight is basically we want to try to kill the majority of the ads at the same time. So each ad will have a certain wave, and we actually won't know that wave. I know Zirkin made like something for me that basically tracked the waves in Heroic, but just try the split. I mean, we don't have to min-max Heroic, so just try to split your damage. Try to kill the majority of the ads around the same time, but again, follow the priority. And the ads drop this little void thing. You pick up the void thing, and then you use your cooldowns on the boss. The boss heals for like 5 million health every 10 seconds, unless you have the void thing. So the idea is to try to kill some of these ads at the same time. You pick up the void thing, use the cooldowns of the boss. If you really want to min-max, people with huge 3-minute cooldowns, they should get the first set. But again, we're not really going to set all that shit up unless we're in Mythic. So in short, kill the ads based off that priority. Figure out when the boss casts his special ability. He'll make the ads do their special ability, which I listed out already. And then you pick up the thing, or you dodge that, and then you kill the ads, pick up the thing, hit the boss. There's another mechanic where you have to run out of the raid. It's a circle on you, just run out. That's really about it. And there's also like swirls on the ground, you dodge. Try not to LOS healers, be smart. Does anyone have questions on this boss? I think just watching that video will be way more beneficial than me like try to break down what each ad does and what you have to do. Does anyone have any questions on that fight? Okay. Il'gynoth, we're going to go through really, really quick. We're not going to touch Mythic at all. Are you fucking kidding me? If I have to remake these, I'm going to be so mad. Give me 2 seconds.
I guess these weren't in the backup.
Were they? Or did I put my... No, they weren't. You're right. Okay, so in short, I'll just kind of draw it out here, and this will define what the strategy is going to be if I draw it out, so it actually might be a little better. So the tanks, they can basically tank the boss wherever the raid isn't, because the raid, it'll do a frontal cone at them. So the raid will start here. So this will be the initial spot of the raid. And we'll basically bait the shit on the ground right here. And we want to be kiting it in like little circles. So like instead of just kiting it across, you just, make a little square like this. All right. Or you just, whatever you want to do to keep it in one zone. These things that chase you down, puts corruption on the ground. These little pockets are where the organs are. And this is like the main mechanic of the fight. So in intermission, the raid will move here and to the first organ. So we start here. When intermission's when we have to kill the boss 5 times, we'll move here. All right. Then there's gonna be an organ here. There's gonna be casting. Anyone can get the interrupt. Like there's gonna be like 25 people there, so someone's gonna get it. Fat Boss was doing a strategy where they all stacked at one point. God damn it! That's what I get for using push the talk with that key. That's not Il'gynoth's room. So Fat Boss did a strat where they basically all stacked up and whoever got the circle debuff ran out. That's probably going to be what it is. So we'll have a week or something. We'll all stack up. Whoever gets the circle debuff runs out, and the stack group in the middle will be safe. They can run in any direction. They can even hit each other with one person. It probably won't kill them. All right. Then the other 2 organs will be active in chain casting. Their ads. So on this organ here that I have right now, that's going to be a tank, probably, I'd say probably Icky, but I'm not actually positive. They can work that out with Yuruno because he has the least amount of cleave, and he can just like put a rip on it, like on the ad that if one gets out, the damage on these organs actually doesn't matter. So they're just here for interrupts and healing. So Yuruno could just hop into, whatever they keep, like balance form or whatever, and heal if needed, the tank. So that's what they're going to do here. So Yuruno needs to make sure they be healing and the tank if needed. At this one, it's going to be Kais and a tank. Again, someone who can heal. I actually don't know like what the meta could be. Like the only reason I didn't put Ellie Shamans out here, which I thought about, is because they might just do like a crap ton of damage to these organs pretty consistently because they can flame shock one of the ads and then funnel all their damage. But that's just me trying to min max. I could be wrong. So anyway, Yuruno, tank here, Kais, tank here, main group here for first ad. Once this ad dies, then we kill the boss the second time. So first time, second time. Now we're positioned here. We'll kite all the corruption shit here. Next ad's up. We move to this zone. We do the organ right here, and then we'll kill the organ, and then at this point, Kais and whoever tank is here is freed up now, because the main group will be here, but this will still be Yuruno and Icky or Snooze or whatever. Then the main group kites the little corruption here. Then again, we'll be slowly moving around when the shit gets more and more. So we'll be slowly moving. And again, we'll kill this ad right here. And now the whole group will be together. Once that's down, we'll have this zone to spread and burn the boss. We lost when we killed the boss the 5th time. The ads put a debuff on you when they hit you. It can be dispelled. Don't be greedy. CC works on them. Grips are amazing. Binding shot's probably pretty good. Like, again, this is pretty good for CC that cannot get interrupted. Oh, one thing to note, and the other mechanic I didn't put about this. In phase 1, people will get mind controlled, and there's like no way to counterplay it. We just have to break them out. They'll just start chasing people down, and if they hit you, then you'll be mind controlled. So you in PTR you could tremor totem it. That's not gonna work. I mean, that's kind of dumb. So you kind of want to spread from other people, even in melee. And when someone gets mind controlled, hard swap, get them out on boss. Hard swap, get them out on boss. If not, that person's going to run around and hit people with the debuff that makes them mind controlled. Does anyone have any questions on this fight?
Are you thinking by the 3rd rotation, the first place where we bait is going to disappear? So that's why
it stays the whole time.
Stays the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay,
so actually, I probably
just
messed up the
minimize it.
first placement. Yeah. So we'll probably start like here. Then we'll do this organ. Then we'll kite. Then we'll do this organ. Then we'll kite. Then we'll do this organ. Then we'll be here. If you're looking at my stream.
So we got to min-max the
zone. Yeah, the zone.
The zone. Okay, gotcha.
And then the other thing that's like kind of soft and ragey, which would make people like probably like warriors and fire mages pretty crazy, is that when an organ dies, it will just leak ads the rest of the fight, and you can't interrupt it. So the ads have to die. There might be some root strategy or CC strategy, but you know, classes like Shadow Priests, mages, probably balanced druids, they're all just gonna thrive because they can just destroy those ads. Unsure though. Not gonna go with myth mechanic, but that's the fight on heroic. We almost killed it in testing on normal, which was definitely overtuned with like a half roster.
Sorry, I kicked you up on accident.
You're good. So Vexiona, basically P1. This is probably broken as well. Yep. Cool. So let me pull up that map. I'll just use this map, whatever. So there's a few mechanics in P1, but nothing's like super crazy. So we'll just tank the boss like in the middle of the room like this. I don't think she actually does a tail swipe, but she just does a frontal. So the tanks, you know, whatever, they're here, they're baiting the breath or whatever she does. And then the raid will be here. So the main thing in P1 is that ads will spawn like here, whatever, and each ad does a special ability. Honestly, just nuke the ads. One of them just melee hits you, and if you don't kill it before 100 energy, it turns into a Void Ascendant ad. There's a Void Ascendant ad, which is a big ad. I'll go over that last. There's one ad just hard casts on you that you can like grip in or something. I forgot what the other ad did, but you just basically kill all the ads. The main thing is this Void Ascendant ad, and the Void Ascendant ad does a frontal, so the tank not tanking the boss will pick up this Void Ascendant ad and point it away from the raid because it does a huge beam frontal. However, if that beam hits ads or players, it will make them do more damage. Like take more damage, I mean. So ideally, what's going to happen is when the Void Ascendant ad dies, it drops an orb. The tank wants to pick that orb up, and on the next set of ads, that tank wants to beam the orb. Also, using the beam drops the stacks that the boss gives you. So that is basically the idea in terms of like, you know, when they do their tank swap or whatever, one of the tanks can clear their stacks by using the beam on the ads. The other mechanic in phase 1 are these circles that come out. Encroaching Shadows, I believe. It's a circle, and of course my diagram is not working, but what I basically did is
Draw it in paint.
You kind of want to get them out of this area. This is not super perfect, but the reason for this is because in P2 it would be really, or intermission, I guess, it'd be really shitty. So you really want to get them out, like in this area, like maybe up on the stairs here. Like it's really bad. Someone DM me. So that's kind of the idea with that. Now in P2, the classic people are going to shine because it's a Nixia's mechanic in retail where she flies up and just like breaths the raid. And the way people were saying it worked on testing is you can bait it by whoever, like, so there's 3 lanes. So it'd be like lane 1, lane 2, lane 3. And you can, whoever's like in the most of that lane, she'll breath, but she can't do the same one twice. When I was doing heroic testing, and I think we actually killed it in heroic testing, is we just like didn't just watch the dragon. And like she'll fly up, it's pretty obvious. Just keep your eyes on the dragon at all times. There will be ads that spawn in this phase. You just AoE them down, the tank might beam them. And you'll just, the whole thing is don't get hit by the breath. Don't get hit by the breath. That's what you have to keep thinking, because that will kill you. In P3, which is I think when she hits 50%, she 40? 50? Someone can correct me. I think it's 50, but if someone can correct me if I'm wrong. And P3 will start. The thing with P3 is that kind of the space that we made early is going to come in handy. So she does a few mechanics.
It is 40.
40? Okay, thank you. She still does her breath at the tanks, so the positioning won't really change. She starts putting Void Corruption on players getting hit by her abilities. This works as the soft enrage. So don't try to avoid the damage, honestly, but some of it you can't avoid. But if you mess up, then you'll be required more healing. She still does the circles, which is why like the room that we got in the first phase is going to come critically important. So if someone's dropping shit pools, then we'll have less room to drop them off. She also does a fear cast, Terrifying Presence, where you have to be within 6 yards of someone. If not, you get feared for like, I don't even know, it's like 8 seconds or something. The only issue with this, because like it's just, okay, stack up forehead. The only issue with this is that the Encroaching Shadows and the fear can go off at the same time. So just like Argus, Mythic Argus, we'll need escorts for those combos. So if you see those combos going out, try to run out with people, but try not to be like 3, 4, 5 people. I mean, 3 is probably fine, but 4 or 5 people stacked up on one person. Because when that pull drops, you'll get a stack of Void Corruption, which causes issues for healing down the line. So just keep that in mind. Tremor Totem did work on testing. I can see them maybe allowing it for this fight, but I doubt it. And every Tremor Totem possibility, I think I put AC and then as like everyone. Like so Il'gynoth has one, Vexiona has one. And the last mechanic is this like circle that she puts on a player, but even though in testing it was only happening on the tank. So she puts this circle out and you basically just soak it. You run on the tank for a second, you soak it, then you run away from the tank before she does a breath. If there's not 3 people in it, it gives you a shit ton of stacks. It's just split between everyone. The other tank should not ever, like, if tanks can avoid soaking it, don't, because your stacks are going crazy high anyway throughout the fight. So try to split the damage. There's a lot of cheese potential for this. So like if rogues can cloak off the debuff or something, then they're just gonna be OP, or if mages like can do it, it's gonna be OP, but that's all mythic stuff for Hiroki to stack up. The reason that 3 tank was brought up in from other groups is because we actually, and this is happening in Heroic too, which is not as big of a deal. So ideally, we want to get these Void Ascendant ads and kill them, and the tank picks up the debuff, or picks up the orb, and they can use it whenever to clear their stacks. They should try to have one when they go into the last phase, because there's no Void Ascendant stacks or Void Ascendant ads, so they can't clear their stacks. Period, unless they have that. So both tanks should try to have it, or at least one of the tanks should try to have it. So the 3 tank thing, one gives you insurance on like, okay, now at least we'll have 3 tanks to potentially, because like these tanks are gonna be having like a crap ton of stacks. The other thing is that for this desolation mechanic, one of the tanks can like stall for multiple of them. So like if you had like Nucky, just like grab it and then like get like to 60 stacks and then grab it again and then get like 60 stacks. I mean, it keeps casting, but you can delay like 30 seconds on the phase and like sub 10% by just having one tank pick that up and moving it out. That's why it's discussed it's 3 tank. Unsure if that's going to be right or not, but just wanted to bring that up. Does anyone have any questions with Vexiona though? We're not going over all this, by the way. It's not this complicated. So Raden.
Rawdong.
Rondon.
Rawdong.
Tanks can taunt once the debuff's off. Now, we will basically. There's 2 orbs in P1. I think he transitions at 50%, but again, someone correct me if I'm wrong. So there's 2 orbs. There's lightning orbs, and there's void orbs. And 40%, thank you. The void orb spawns an ad, and this ad basically just like puts the circle on someone and just split the damage. It's another soak, everyone's soak mechanic. Very simple. There's also an orb that bounces around. I think it bounces 5 or 6 times. We want our mobile range classes to go take them. It doesn't work like Zekvaz, so you stack an orb and then it goes in a random direction. So if you're a range that is mobile, go out and get it once. Period. There's no if, but around it. You just have to do it. And obviously, if it's about to fall and the Demon Hunter wants to Fel Rush out there, go do it. Then there's going to be the... Sorry, that was the Void ad. And then the Lightning ad has this Unstable Vita. It also has a Lightning ad that just doesn't chain lightning. You can just target it down. It doesn't do much. I mean, in theory, whoever gets targeted should run out, but I don't think it'll be a big deal in Heroic. So, the Unstable Vita, the way it works, and you might want to watch the Fat Boss Guide or some other VOD about how they deal with it, is... Okay, I mean, I assume this Gazo is also broken, but I had it all drawn out. So in short, the raid is this block. Whoever gets unstable Vita will move to yellow. Then we have a set order-ish about who moves the green. The debuff will jump to the farthest person. So we're going to go yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow. I think it jumps 5 times, all right? So the way I have it, so the first person will always go the yellow, and then I didn't put it in here. I'll put this in the ERT note. But what I had is I'll go to the opposite marker. If I get it, then obviously Snow or Banchers will get it. It really doesn't matter. Just someone has to get there. So the Vita soaking, myself, Snow, Banchers, Ruffle, Zan, J Bloom, Z, Cosmic, and then this is before I knew what his name was going to be on the server. So I put Elishab. I mean, this is more than 5, but I think it gives you a debuff and it might need to drop off. So there's a chance that my debuff won't be off if a second set comes in, and then I'll have to call for backup. But the idea is you move it out. So let's say, let's say, I don't know, Darketh gets it. He's not in the order. He'll go the yellow. I'll go the green. And then he'll shoot the debuff over. And then I'll get it. And then Snowshot will go the yellow. I'll shoot the debuff over to him. Banchers will go the green. I'll shoot the debuff over to him, etc. But the one thing that I want to stress is that it won't be like that every time, because let's say like Raffle gets the debuff, then Zan has to take a spot. So it's actually better like if Z or Cosmic or Ez or even like J or literally anyone sees that like the order's getting fucked, just go stand at that marker and take it. It's not a big deal. Does anyone have questions on that mechanic? Because I know it's kind of weird.
You just run out. It's really easy.
Which mechanic?
Jesus.
The Vita one.
Hey, what boss are we on?
In the last phase.
No.
In the last
Radan?
phase.
Okay.
In the last phase. He
Mhm.
basically
In what phase? Sorry.
In the we have to do each orb. We have to kill the orbs one by one, by the way. So we're gonna do purple first, probably, and then lightning. So we'll kill purple, get those ability. Wait, no, it's the other way around. We'll kill lightning, so that the boss gets the void ability. Then we'll kill the other one, and they'll get the other abilities, and vice versa. I think the void is easier to deal with from testing. Let one of the orbs hit the boss. So you gotta kill one, let it hit the boss. The other, let the other one hit. And then the last phase, the boss just like will lust, and the boss just goes pretty. It just does a lot of damage at 40%. We also don't want to transition when like Vita is up or something like that, so we might have to stop damage. But anyway, we'll transition at 40, and we'll lust, we'll burn, and then basically just start slapping the tanks very hard. He will do a void eruption, which is just a swirl you move out. He does a charge bonds, which is run 40 yards away from your partner, just like you ever did Xavius. Sorry, wait, charge bonds, is that run away? Yeah, okay, so it's opposite of Xavius. So yeah, you move 40 yards away from whoever you're targeted with to break it, and that you just start taking so much damage. You might want to like pop a personal if you get this, because if you might be LOS LOS healers. And yeah, it's just a burn, so dodge circles. And don't run charge bonds out and heal tanks. So that's that.
Make sure you don't take damage, otherwise healers will have to heal you.
Well, in Mythic, you actually don't want to be
Also-
healed for full health if you get this corrupt.
Yeah.
Remember the stack points blue.
That was interesting, actually. I wonder if Void Shift will be good for that. There's also a third orb in Mythic.
Yep, but it'll be a few weeks till we get there. All right, so that's weird. Anyway, so Carapace P1 is all about ads. And
Boss is a clusterfuck.
yeah, but there's basically run out with a seed, target ads down when you see them. Rathian, you can use your cloak I think, yeah, you can use your cloak to go to the Rathian, but it's a 2-minute cooldown, or you can just run to him at the entrance and it'll restore your sanity and heal you.
Cloak's a 3-minute.
Jesus.
You're getting trolled, dude.
The tentacle slam will not be a standard like World of Warcraft red box. It will actually be the shadow of the tentacle because they're so big. So you see the shadow, you move out of the shadow, the tentacle comes down, you can climb on the tentacle or DPS them from the bottom. People are saying that like demon hunters, warriors, like basically melee that aren't like super slow can just run up there and just nuke all the ads, and range can hit them from the bottom as well. Once the ads die, the tentacle goes away and it does a lot of damage to the boss. Every time you kill an ad, it does damage to the boss. There's going to be like eye stalks that come out of the walls that are like basically top priority. They do a cast. We actually, in testing, you didn't want to interrupt the cast. I don't think it's intended. I think you'll have to interrupt it, but we'll go in the mindset of we don't have to interrupt it because that's not what testing did. You just have to target it down. Yeah, that's P1. So it's just a lot of ads, and there's also small ads that run around and stuff. You want to get the mini boss down to 50%. Again, every time you kill an ad, it does damage to the mini boss. And then you just want to keep everything clean. So, and not die the tentacles. So at 50%, Rathian will like turn into a dragon and like blast a wall in the carapace. And this is where things become kind of unknown. There's going to be like Gahoon style 2 sides. I mean, no, unknown in terms of the strat. So there's going to be Gahoon style 2 sides you can go down. So one strat is you all ball up, do one side, use your extra action button, go the Rathian, do the other side, jump down, and then push the mini boss to 40%. The other strat is that you get into 2 groups, which I can preset easily if I know that's going to be the strategy. In the 2 groups, you do each side. You probably one tank should, or the tanks should leave early so they can pick up the boss as soon as he phases, because he phases once all the like things on the walls are killed. And then we'll use our extra action buttons, get sanity, gateway, and then like Windrush Totem to the mini boss, and then just kill him, and he does like run out of the raid mechanics and beams at you. Then the last phase, the tentacles are back, except there's like more of them and they're kind of harder to dodge. You still have the move out of the raid buff, so we need to be really careful with the tentacles and be smart with positioning. There's going to be ads that spawn. We don't want to AoE them. We want to leave them because they'll get a shield on them, and when you take the shield, this is with P1 too. When they get the shield and we break the shield, it drops sanity orbs. We want the sanity orbs to recover sanity because we can't get it back in the last phase. So we will basically just not kill the ads. Once you see the shields, we blow them up. Anyone with low sanity or like lower sanity picks them up. And that's really the phase. It's all about, and then if you lose all your sanity, you become like super buffed for like 20 seconds, and then you just mind control and just make other people lose their sanity. Mythic's pretty mental. Like, I don't even know what to say about it. There's like cysts all around the room that we have to DPS and like cut the boss in a circle. It's pretty insane. But does anyone have questions on Carapace?
What phase was that?
That was P3. All right, N'Zoth, I'm just gonna kind of talk about a little. In P1, I mean, I just want to tell people to watch the Fat Boss Guide plus like a POV of someone doing it. But basically, there wasn't a lot of testing. So in P1, before we pulled N'Zoth, I need to sit down with the tanks and path. This is like Mythic Plus on crack. So you path out what tentacles you go to, and we have to go from tentacle to tentacle to tentacle, and we have to kill the tentacle while cleaving the boss. Every time you kill a tentacle, the boss gets an extra 60 or 50% damage to it. It has like 100 million health. So we basically want to keep killing tentacles so the boss takes more percent damage. If we want a path in a certain way, and every time you kill a tentacle ad, like a pool spawns, when you get into the phase as well, everyone leaves a copy of their body in like the main realm. So we want a path away where we get enough tentacles where we can debuff the boss enough so we can kill it, while lining up that we get to our bodies in time, because once the ad dies, we all have to get out of the realm immediately. If you get left in the realm, you die. So I'll path that out with the tanks. It happens in P2 as well, but a little different. So that's P1. P2 is basically P1 plus something new. So half the raid will get shot down into the bottom area, into basically the same area that they were just in. However, only half the raid is there instead of the full raid, and they'll have that ad back. The ad, I think he does a special ability. So like one of them's like fire circles on the ground, and the other one is every time you move, you take damage or something. And you'll have half the DPS, and you have to do that same thing again where you path around. But this time I don't really know if like you have to get back to your body or you just get shot out. Something we have to learn when people start killing the boss. And then that group will path around, whatever. They'll come out. The other group basically has big ads that they have to target down. They also have this gripping. Well, they have these little cysts on the ground where if you like, they're like Lahoon, so when you like target them down, they become less.
Yes.
You want to keep the area around you clean. There'll be a gripping mechanic where either something will grip you away from the boss or towards the boss, and there'll be like an arrow coming out of your body. So if it's going away from the boss, then you want to be towards the boss, so you get gripped away from the boss. But if it's going towards the boss, you want to run away from the boss to get gripped towards the boss, so you don't get pulled through crap on the ground. And I'm probably missing a mechanic, but that's basically P2 in a nutshell. I didn't really do much research on P3 because it's relatively unknown. Can't really speculate too much.
Secret phase, boys.
So that's N'Zoth in short. So it's going to come down to a lot of like tanks planning the path, and then like cleave classes are going to be pretty good, like 2-target cleave. At least in the first 2 phases. I have no idea the last phases. Also, something to note is that every time I think you kill a mini boss, N'Zoth can take damage. So when we kill a mini boss the first time, we'll get out of the realm and then damage N'Zoth for like 30 seconds. And I think it happens every time you kill a mini ad. But again, that's not really confirmed. Does anyone have questions on N'Zoth?
That's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You're gonna have set groups for the different visions and whatnot.
So I'm not sure if like people can just go in or they're just gonna get ripped in. I have no idea. Like if they're just gonna go like, okay, half melee, half tanks, half healers, all get shooting.
The way it's worded, it says draws player into a vision, so like I'm thinking it's probably gonna be like Rastakhan. But
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, if we can choose who goes in, I already thought about what I'm gonna do. So if it's the fire circles on the ground, like all the melee and like BM hunters and shit are gonna go in. Or like classes who can basically dodge them for free. And then for the moving one, that's for your casters go.
Yeah, pretty much. If you move, you're porked.
Does anyone have any questions on N'Zoth? Alright, cool. I'm done then. Does anyone have any questions on the raid?
That was more than an hour, Marsh.
I gotta ask questions. Alright.
I do have a question.
Alright, go, Shiden.
Where's Joe at?
Jesus. Alright, I'm going. Ask me anything.
XD, dude.
I'll be on
Have a good night,
tomorrow.
kid.
I'll be on tomorrow from like some time in the afternoon up until like 7:30, and then I'll be on at night.
Wait, something I do want to ask. Is people going to be on like when server starts? Because me and Raffle thinking about doing like a mini alt
Yes,
run just to
people
get
is
into.
gonna be on.
I'm gonna turn off the stream for this, but anyone.
Who's gonna be on dump?